Hello everyone, welcome to Python tutorial 8. In this video, we will discuss about loops in Python programming language. We will discuss in detail about how to use loop statements including for loop and while loop. What are loops? Sometimes we want to execute a particular task over and over again. These repeated executions are performed by loops. Before we discuss loops, let us discuss range object, as this range object is commonly used in looping. The range function outputs ordered sequence. The sequence starts at 0 and contains the number of elements same as input. For example, if the input is 3, the output is the sequence 0, 1 and 2. Range of 3, here 3 is the input and it is ranging from 0 to 3 but not including 3, that is up to 2. Same time, if the range function has two inputs like range of 5 comma 10, the output is a sequence that starts at the first inputs, that is starting from 5. Then the sequence iterates up to second number, that is up to 10 but not including 10, which means up to 9. So we will understand the use of range exactly when discussing the loops. Let us start with the for loop. For loop is also called as counter controlled loop. The syntax for loop is for x in range of start end step. This is a syntax for range of start end step. This step parameter we will see with some other examples. So now focus on the syntax of for loop. For x in range, and please make note of the semicolon and the indent. So whatever in the indented block, all the statements will be executed again and again. So let us discuss the for loop with an example. Here for I in range of 10, which means the loop will be executed 10 times, that is 0 to 9. So after the semicolon, indent print of I, it will print the value of I. So when the loop starts, the value of I is 0, the 0 printed. Then the value of I will be incremented to 1. Because there is no step here, the default step value will be 1. For range, the default step value will be 1. So now the value of I will be 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1, and 1 will be printed, and again it will become 2, it will become 3. So until 9 the loop will be executed again and again, and the value of I will be printed one by one. So once the range finishes, the loop ends and the control will come out of the loop, and the print statement end of for loop will be printed. This end equal to empty string. End is a parameter for print function which will suppress the new line character. See, when you print the I without this end parameter, you will see the value of I getting printed one by one. That is every statement is printed in the new line. So because I have added this end parameter, all the inputs are printed in the same line. So this is another example. So in this example, the start value is 0 and the end value is 10. And the range will be 0 to 9. Here the start value is 5 and the end is 10. So, and the step is also 1. So the range will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is an example where we can change the start value. So this is an example where the step is 2. Start value is 4. So the loop starts at 4, and every time the value of I is getting incremented for a step of 2. So initially I equal to 4, and then it will be incremented to 6, and then it will be incremented to 8. So and then it will get incremented to 10, but in range. So the 10 will be exclusive. So it will consider up to 9. The loop ends at 8 and the control come out of the for loop. So this is another example where I'm using a range 3 comma 6 and assigning the range in x. Now x is a sequence having elements 3, 4 and 5. So this is another example where I'm assigning years equal to a list of years 2020, 2021 and 2022. So instead of using range, I'm using a list in this for loop. For I in years, print of I. Here this I, for each iteration, the value of variable I behaves like the value of years of I. That is, when I equal to 0, years of I means the value at the 0th index. So 2020 will be printed, and when the value of I becomes 1, so please make note that the value of I is not 1. The value of I is years of 0, years of 1, years of 2. That is years of I. For every execution, the value of I will be changing, but the original value will be like years of index. Okay, every time print statement executed and print out the value in the list years at index I. So first time it will be index 0, the next time it will be index 1, and next time the index will be 2. How many times the for loop is executing? So the code in the indent is executed n times, which means the length of the list. Length of the list is 3. The same code I'm using here. Years equal to 2020, 2021, 2022. Length of years is I'm assigning to n. Now the n is 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 is the length of the list years. So for I in range of n means range of 3. So 0, 1, 2. It will be executed 3 times. This is another example for a for loop to print 0 to 7. I will be sharing this notebook through my GitHub account. You can download and go through it. So this is another example where I'm using negative number in range. So range will be minus 5 to 6. So the for loop will be executed from minus 5, starting from minus 5 until plus 5. Starting from minus 5, it will go up to 6 but not including 6. So it stops at 5. So this is a list of genres. So I am looping through this list of genres and printing every genre one by one. So next one is a nested loop, which means the for loop inside the for loop. So this is a code to build a multiplication table. For that I am using two loops. In first loop I am using I, second loop I am using j. For I in range 1 comma 11, which means the range is from 1 to 10. 11 is not included, so it will go up to 10. I will go up to 10. Similarly, j will also go up to 10 because range of 1 comma 11. But here for each value of I, the j will go from 1 to 10. It will print I multiplication j. For example, if I equal to 1, j will be executed 10 times, which means I equal to 1, j equal to 1. So 1 into 1, which will printed this. So the format of printing I am given here. For I equal to 1, j equal to 1. So 1 into 1 gives 1. For I equal to 1, j equal to 2. So 1 by 2. For I equal to 1, j equal to 3. 1 by 3. For I equal to 1, j equal to 4. 1 by 4. So similarly, for I equal to 1, j equal to 10. So 1 by 10 gives 10. So once the j becomes 10, the inner loop stops and it will execute the empty print statement. So a new line will be printed. Again the control goes to I. I incremented to next step. That is next value is 2. I equal to 2, j equal to 1. 2 into 1, I equal to 2, j equal to 2, 2 into 2, I equal to 2, j equal to 3, 2 into 3, I equal to 2, j equal to 10, 2 by 10, 20. Similarly, for every value of I, j goes from 1 to 10, and we get this multiplication table printed. Hope you understand this nested loop. Now we can change the elements in a list. For example, colors is a list of elements. I'm executing this for loop for I in range of 0, comma 5. Colors of I, which is, if I use range, then colors of I means colors of 0. The value of starting value of range 0. Colors of 0 is equal to colors of 0 plus I'm adding some string. And every time the loop executes, the value of I incremented by 1, because the step is 1 here, and it will go up to 4. 0 to 4, 5 times the loop will be executed. So for every execution, colors of I is equal to colors of I plus color, which means that in the every index I am adding, that is I am appending color, the string color, to the existing string. So colors of 0 is red, which becomes red color. Colors of 1 is yellow, which becomes yellow color. Colors of 2, colors of 3, colors of 4. Here this is an example where I loop through the list and iterate on both index and element value. So colors equal to a list of colors for I comma color in enumerate of colors. What is this enumerate? A lot of times when dealing with iterators, we need to keep a count of iterations, that is the number of items in the iterators. In Python, the built-in function enumerate will help this task. The enumerate function takes a collection, example a tuple or a list. Here it is a list, and it adds a counter as the key. For example, here for red it adds 0, yellow it adds 1, green it adds 2, purple it adds 3, blue it adds 4, and returns it as an enumerate object. So for every value in color, it adds a counter, and the counter always starts at 0. Now we know that enumerate function is used in iterators. What is an iterator? An iterator is an object that contains a countable number of values. So an iterator is an object that can be iterated upon, which means that we can loop through all the values. So this colors is a list, we can loop through all the elements in the list. So colors is an iterator. So the syntax of enumerators: enumerate, iterable object, start will always be 0. In this example, the start is 0, so it added 0 to red, 1 to yellow, 2 to green, 3 to purple, and 4 to blue. Return type of the enumerate function is an object. So this enumerate object can be used directly in for loops, or it can be converted into list of tuples using the list methods. For example, days is a list, and I'm applying enumerate function into it. As I didn't add any starting value, the counter starts at 0, and I'm printing the type of enumerate days. This type, its type is, so it is a object of class enumerate, and here I'm converting this enumerate days into list. This is the list of counter and the element. Monday will be added with the counter 0, and Thursday will be added with the counter 3. And we can also specify the starting counter using the start value. Here we are changing the default counter to 5. So instead of 0, Monday will be added with the counter of 5, and Tuesday will be added with 6, 7, and 8. So what are the advantages of using the enumerate function? The enumerate allows us to loop through a list, a tuple, a dictionary, string, and it gives the value along with the index. When you loop through all these sequences, we will get only the element values. So to get the index value using for loop, we should make use of list.index. Instead of using the enumerate function, if we go for list.index of n, it will be very expensive. Expensive as in case of time, as it will traverse the for loop twice. So this enumerate is very helpful in such cases as it gives the index and the item at one go. Let us move on to while loop. While loop is also called as condition controlled loop. So this is the syntax of while loop. While, condition, semicolon, indent, then block of statement. We should make sure to set the condition to be false. Then only the loop will stop. Otherwise it will go on and on. Why we go for a while loop? The for loop is used for a controlled flow of repetition. What if when we don't know when to stop the loop, or when we want to keep executing a block of code until a certain condition is met? Then the while loop exists as a tool for repeated execution based on a condition. So for loop is based on counter, so that is why it is called counter control loop. Whereas while loop is based on condition, so it is called condition control loop. Here one thing we should make note is the code block will keep executed until the given logical condition returns to a false. So we need to frame a condition such that it should be false at some time. Here is an example. We will loop through a list of years and stop at a year 1973 and then print out the number of iterations. So years is a list which is having a list of years from 0 to third index. I am initiating I with 0 and year with 0, and here is the while loop with a condition year not equal to 1973 semicolon, and these are the statements in the block. So here I'm assigning year equal to years of I and incrementing I with 1 and printing the year. So let us go through the flow. Initially I equal to 0, year equal to 0, and it will compare 0 not equal to 1973. Yes, 0 not equal to 1973. Then the year will be assigned to years of 0 because I equal to 0. Years of 0 is 1982. So year will be assigned to 1982 and then I will be incremented to 2. Sorry, 1. 0 plus 1, 1. And it will be printing the year, that is 1982. And now I equal to 1, year equal to 1982. 1982 not equal to 1973. So years will be assigned to years of I, which is years of 1, 1980. So now I becomes I equal to I plus 1, which is 1 plus 1, 2. So I becomes 2, year becomes 1980. So print of year will be printing 1980. And it will be checking 1980 not equal to 1973. Year will be assigned to year of 2. Year of 2 is 1973. And I becomes 3. Print of year will be printing 1973. 1973 not equal to 1973. Here it becomes false. So the loop ends here. The control come out of the loop and it will be printing. It took 3 repetition because now I equal to 3. It took 3 repetition to get out of the loop. So these are the simple examples where I used while loop. This while loop is printing the value 0 to 4. So the condition is I less than 5. So these are other simple examples where I used while loop. So you can go through this once you download the notebook. So let us compare the while loop and the for loop. In both the loops, we need to initialize the variable. So for example, I equal to 5. I equal to 5 in while loop, we initialize like this, I equal to 5. If I use for loop, I will put the start value of 5 in range. So this is the initialization of variable. It is a one time execution. And check the condition. If I less than 15, this condition will be given in while loop. So this condition in for loop, we have given us range value, the second number in range, 15. And then the statements. So once the condition becomes true, what are the statements to be executed? So that is printing I. Both the statements are similar. And then increment or decrement. The counter value should be incremented or decremented. So here I equal to I plus 3. This is the short form to specify I equal to I plus 3. So here the increment will be given as steps in the range. So this is just an attempt to compare the for loop and while loop. Then break and continue statement. Break statement breaks out of the loop completely, whereas continue will break out of the current iteration. So these are the examples. In the first example, I used a break statement. Same program. In the second example, I used the continue statement. I initialized I equal to 5 while I less than 15, print I. If I have given a condition, if I equal to 10, break, which means that it will print from 5 to 10. Once the I becomes 10, it will stop abruptly. But what if I want to skip 10 and I wanted to print 11, 12, 13, 14? In, see here I used continue. I equal to 5 while I less than 15. If I equal to 10, I plus equal to 1, which means I equal to I plus 1. Continue. If I equal to 10, simply increment I and continue. Otherwise, print I and increment I. So now, first if I equal to 5, it will check for I less than 15, I not equal to 10. So these two statements will not executed. It will print the value of I and it will increment the value of I. When I equal to 10, these two statements will get executed. It won't print the I, but it will just increment the value of I and will continue the loop. So I becomes 11 and it will compare 11 with 15 and then only it will print. So 11 gets printed and 10 got skipped. So I have added different sequences, that is dictionaries, strings, tuples and list. Various examples on these sequences, how to use for loop. I will commit this notebook in the GitHub and will give the link in the description box. You will you will get it downloaded and go through the notebook. We will discuss more on Python in next video. So please subscribe my channel and click the bell icon. If you like the content, please hit the like button and share with your friends. Thank you.